well, this is Twilight Struggle Red Sea, Conflict in the Horn of Africa. Let's going to take a quick look at this game because this is one I did not P500 because I already have Twilight Struggle, and I guess I didn't really even read much about this. I just saw Twilight Struggle Red Sea. I'm thinking, well, I already have Twilight Struggle. Why do I want to get a smaller version of it? Well, here's maybe why you might find this to be of interest. First of all, you are getting a little bit different map, I think, from Twilight Struggle. Now, I could be wrong about this. I haven't dragged out my old copy. I haven't played TS in a while. But I don't remember South Yemen and Yemen in the game. And I don't remember these three countries from the Southern Arabian Peninsula. So that's something a little bit different. Something else going on the map that you might notice is strategic sea lanes. And this adds a new wrinkle to the game as well, as I'll show in just a moment. Basically what you have here, you have a version of Twilight Struggle that kind of bridges the mid-war and late-war periods of the original game. This is playable in probably about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour. And you can extend it maybe one more turn if you have the original Twilight Struggle. So, I should also point out, I just couldn't resist trying out CDG Solo and just, playing this just to see how this would work with TS or with CDG Solo. I've been using this with games from other companies besides GMT, and just to see how flexible this system is. And you know what? I found it does work for TS. They don't have a play guide for it yet, but I was able to make my way through it, and it worked just great. Now, you don't need this. This was a separate experiment all on my own. What you're going to get with the game is a rule book that is a little bit smaller footprint. And you probably noticed the box is the same footprint as Red Flag Over Paris, slightly smaller in dimensions, but maybe a little bit deeper than the normal or average GMT box. And so here's your rule book, 15 pages of rules. Notice it has integrated variants. You can combine aspects of the original Twilight Struggle with this game to extend this game into a third turn, or you can take contents from this game and bring it into Twilight Struggle. So with that said, let's look at some of the cards here. All of the cards are different. These are all new cards. None of these cards appear in original TS, but you could incorporate them into TS, which is cool. You can take like 9 ops. Each player can take 9 ops worth of these cards and integrate them with regular TS. So you have all kinds of events that we don't see in the original game. This is basically the equivalent of the China card, Romanian Autonomy. It works like the China card, but with some subtle differences. And so that's something that's new in the game. So all kinds of things that, fit with the era of the late 70s, early 80s. You got Diego Garcia. You can get control of those strategic sea lanes. And why do you want those sea lanes? Well, these sea lanes here they're not adjacent to anything. Anybody can play resources or ops into them to gain influence. But if you control the sea lanes, it's worth points just by itself. And potentially it can double your scoring from a scorecard, which is super cool. Now, the Africa scorecard, the Middle East scorecard, I think, is the only card in here that's identical to the original TS. The African scorecard is a little bit different. The countries of Ethiopia and Somalia are super important in this game, even though they are not battleground countries. They are considered flashpoint countries. So they have this little flashpoint symbol underneath them. So if you control both of those and you have a majority, you have more control of African countries. Let's see, Ethiopia, Somalia, and controls more African countries than your opponent. That's an auto win when that card is pulled. So there's going to be a lot of intensive action in the Horn of Africa in this game, but it's going to spill over into the Middle East, and so you just kind of get a sense of that. I really like the idea of combining cards with the original game. So you have a different version of Soviets moving into Afghanistan with this card. Instead of Bear Trap, you have this guy. Number of cards that I can't pronounce. This one's kind of cool. T-62s and Kalashnikovs. If you know how to play Twilight Struggle, there's like a one-page summary to get you right into this. So the point I wanted to make is what you're getting here is its own game. And potentially you could treat this as though it's an expansion to Twilight Struggle, because you can integrate some of the cards from this, or actually any of the cards you can integrate into TS. And there's the rules for how to do that, including the rule book. There is also, and I want to get to this here in closing, a solitaire and background booklet. Now, this is a heftier booklet, weighing in just under 30 pages, 28 pages total. And this has the solo rules. So this has got GMT1. I think Jason Carr designed the solitaire system. I haven't played it yet. I just broke it out and thought, hey, we'll play a game of this or two, and then I want to try out CGG Solo and just see how it works with that, because I've been thinking about, I wonder if I can play 1960 or Twilight Struggle or 1989. I just want to see how that would work with CGG Solo. So I was just screwing around. But this will obviously be up next. I want to check out the solitaire system for it. I'm getting ready to play some other stuff, but I wanted to kind of slip this guy in the middle because GMT was nice enough to send me a copy of this and take a look at it. Again, this is one that, having played it now, I'm like, man, this is actually really cool. Some of the smaller footprint games, I think they're all right, but I haven't been, super wowed by everything. Red Flag Over Paris is one of those that kind of surprised me. This one here, super big surprise. There's been some surprises with these small footprint games, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Red Flag Over Paris, really enjoyed that. South China Sea, really enjoyed that. And I can see right now, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of this guy here. Now, one last thing I'll say. The game really only has 2 turns. In order to play the optional third turn, you have to have a copy of Twilight Struggle, because you're going to take cards from that game and integrate it into this game to get enough cards for that third turn. So you're basically expanding it a little bit further into the late war. Now, I was thinking, you only have 2 turns? I mean, it's kind of lame. You got a game, it's only 2 turns long. Well, when you think about it, though, you're actually playing 2 hands of 9 cards. So you're playing 18, you have 18 cards to play, which fits the footprint of these smaller games. And there's a lot of action packed into those 18 cards. The last game I played ended up with a draw. I was able to eke out a final turn. I wasn't able to get a win, but I was able to force a draw. Just really neat, tight card play back and forth. Just because there's a fewer number of spaces does not make the decision-making easy, but it may be a little bit easier than looking at the whole globe. And so that's something else that may be of value. If you play in this, you get the hang of it. I think you can move from this to TS, full-blown TS, and play with maybe a little bit more confidence and not be overwhelmed by the sheer number of choices available to you. So that is just a quick look at Twilight Struggle, Red Sea, Conflict in the Horn of Africa from GMT Games. Designer is Jason Matthews. Jason Carr did the solitaire design, and definitely encourage you to check it out. I'm Joel Toppin. Hope you enjoyed the video.